Let's go to the Game Time hotline here on Horns at Half Past. And, you know, you want to talk offensive football, good offensive football, and well, usually when he was on an offense, it was really good. That's safe to say. Think about this. No, if you don't know, you're way too young for this, but he was an All-American in 1995 at Texas when Texas won the last Southwest Conference championship.
Wow.
He was also a consensus All-American in 1996, the following year when the Longhorns and John Malkovich won the first Big 12 championship, blocking for Ricky Williams and Priest Holmes and all those dudes. Then he gets drafted into the NFL, wins part of a Super Bowl in 97 and 8 with the Denver Broncos and that 2,000-yard season, so he knows good offense. He's great to talk to as well. Hello, Dan Neal. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. How are y'all doing?
Hey, Dan.
Doing good. How's life, man? Family good? Everybody good? I heard you were texting you and I that you're now, because of some friends of ours from high school, you're rooting for the Aggies a little bit, which is that's like something I never thought I would say.
And I didn't think I would either. Now, put in context, I hope they go 11-1. But, an old friend of yours and mine, we went to high school together, and he was my roommate at Texas. His son ended up committing to A&M, so I have to pull for him.
You have to. Yeah, that's your kids outweigh loyalties of any kind, for sure. They become your loyalty. Kids are your best buddies. I mean, come on now. That's you're pulling for Landon. That's Shane Rink, of course, who was your roommate at Texas, and we Cy Creek together back in the day. And Dan, you when you were blocking. By the way, you were also a Lombardi Award finalist. How long did you ever think?
Wow.
Because Orlando Pace, who had won it in 95, also won it in 96. Was there ever a thought that maybe you could win the Lombardi Award in 96?
Never a thought. Didn't even cross my mind.
Or big Orlando.
Aaron, I have no shame in losing out to Orlando Pace. He was a decent football player.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Well, he's still the only, Archie Griffin's the only two-time Heisman winner. Orlando Pace is the only two-time Lombardi Award winner. In 95, 96. Yeah, he was pretty good. He, first pick of the draft that year, and he's in the Hall of Fame now. So, but you were pretty damn good. You were a finalist, and that's something there. All right, so let me ask you this. Dan Neal, when you watch Texas and you root for Texas and you study Texas, how does a team go from offensively looking as solid as they did against Oklahoma, a really good defense, to looking as bad as they did against Kentucky, who's not a really good defense? What do you see? What are the concerns that jump out to you between those two performances and just the inconsistency of this offense?
Well, the inconsistency of the offense can really be traced to one thing. It's the offensive line play, and they have struggled up front in every game. Really, the OU game, what I think was different about that game is what they were asked to do. If you look at it, they certainly threw the ball short or quick more often than they had previously and more often than they did against Kentucky. And that's kind of the secret, because quick throws means your offensive line has to hold up for like 1 second. Deep balls, they got to hold up for 3 or 4 seconds, and they just can't do it. And in Kentucky also, the formula that they did defensively, now everyone will do because it was very successful. And what that was is they blitzed and they blitzed and they blitzed, and then they disguised where those 4 rushers were coming from. Because up front, we cannot pick up a blitz, we can't pick up a twist, and we have no clue where the rushers are coming from. So guys are coming scot-free into Manning's face. And as a quarterback, imagine getting the ball to snap to you, not knowing where that free rusher is coming from. I mean, you're going to be panicked back there. And that's kind of what I see out of Manning right now is he's hanging in there tough, but he's not comfortable because he has no idea where the rushers are coming from.
And that's to your point, and this is why it's a combo with Sark and the play calling and the play install that they're going to go with. And maybe he hopefully learned his lesson that I think maybe he thought they turned a corner after the OU game and went back to some of the Florida stuff. And Florida, Kentucky had other ideas. And that's, get back to basics, keep it simple. Don't, this isn't last year's offensive line and Quinn Ewers. This is a young offensive line. But what have you seen from the offensive line that gives you optimism that they can improve? Is there anything? I shouldn't put words in your mouth. Is there anything that for Longhorn fans that Trevor Gooseby and that unit up front, Nick Brooks, a freshman guard, DJ Campbell's playing a good brand of football at right guard. What is there a level of optimism at all that they can improve as they get into the toughest part of their schedule?
Not for me. This is 7 games into the season. You have what you have. And you brought up Brooks, the left guard. He's the third guy they've played at that position, and not because of injuries, because the other 2 they felt weren't good enough. So then they've decided to go with Brooks, who, if he's the best bad option you have, I'm concerned, right? It's just at this point in the season, you are what you are, and that is what we have, and they're going to struggle the rest of the season. They're just not all of a sudden going to flip a switch and decide to get mean and nasty and play, offensive linemen like I think it should be played. They're confused. They don't really know what's going on. They can't pass guys off on twists. They don't have any. They don't run the ball the way you need to run the ball, which is being aggressive, taking it to the D lineman. So I just think this is what we have.
And so, how do you game plan if you're Sark, knowing that if that's the case, I'm assuming he realizes that now 7 games in, can try to replicate that Oklahoma game plan, but everybody's now going to game plan you to stop that? They kind of know what you kind of have to do to move the football.
Well, that's the problem when you have a limited offense is, the defense can figure it out pretty quickly. And like I said, the thing about a team that blitzes you, if you get a blitz, which it's hard to operate with blitzes, it's hard to make plays happen, but if you can and burn them with the blitz, you'll shut it down. If you don't burn them on the blitz, they're just going to keep doing it. So they're going to get pressure the rest of the season. As far as what they can do, the blueprint, like you said, is out there, that Oklahoma game, but everyone knows that's about all they can do. Well, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. You can't try to do something you can't do. I mean, it's frustrating, I think, for offense coordinators sometime. And I've lived this where, hey, this guy's open down the field on this, double move route. And you're like, well, great. Then you're going to have to go get another offensive lineman to block that guy for that long because I can't do it. You can't make that play because we can't hold up front long enough to make that play. So just forget about it. And it's hard because it's there and they know it's there and they want to do it, but you can't physically get it done. And so you got to accept the limitations of your offensive line and run the stuff that they can block for you, which is release the ball quick. That's about all you can do.
Dan, I want to ask about this. You played a position. Just going into the mind of Sark, coming into this year, obviously lost a lot of the former alignment of the draft, but are you surprised that they didn't address this in the transfer portal or bring in guys now that we're seeing this product out there? A lot of these guys are young, don't have tons of experience, but you're right. I mean, it's just obvious. They're not as good as what they were last year, but a lot of those guys are gone and played a lot of football. So just get into the mind of, Sark here. Why do you think he didn't address the transfer portal or bring in other guys?
Well, I think so. There's a formula to the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, so here, I think your question is, why do we have the linemen we do? I think there's a couple of things at play here. One, these are the guys that we've decided to go recruit, and these are the guys that we decided are good enough. So I would say, hey, man, we need to evaluate how we're evaluating talent.
Yeah.
First and foremost, and then you say, okay, they lost 4 guys last year. Well, a lot of teams in college lose 4 guys, okay? That's okay. You expect that we have a plan to replace those guys. They didn't sign anybody in the portal, and there's kind of 2 reasons for that. One, it's they thought what we had was good enough, which is a problem, or they didn't want to go spend the money that offensive linemen command. And that is partly part of, hey, say I have kind of a salary range for my offensive linemen, and I want to keep it in that range because if I start paying more for guys, I could disrupt that room and that, hey, this guy's making so much more than the others. Well, if you want to go get good linemen in the portal, you're going to have to pay for them because everybody wants them because they're that important. And they may have said, hey, we don't want to pay that kind of money for guys and disrupt our formula of how everybody gets paid. And so we're going to go with what we have, which unfortunately was a big mistake because what they have, again, 7 games in the season, we know what we have. They're just not good enough.
Yeah, and that has been my argument. They did spend money in defensive line. They brought in 5 defensive linemen. They went and got a tight end. They went and got a receiver, which tells you they kind of where they felt they had holes, they went and filled them and spent the money. They felt like the young guys that they had recruited and identified would develop and would be better players right now. And you said it, Dan. We're talking to Dan Neal, of course, a Longhorn All-American, Hall of Honor, 2-time Super Bowl champion here on Game Time. Really, for poor Nick Brooks out there, I think Nick Brooks, a 5-star kid from Georgia, is going to be a real good player. But right now he's been thrown in there because the guys who have been on campus for a couple of years at left guard just weren't ready to take the role. I mean, they've already gotten their shot and couldn't do it, and that's a problem. I mean, that's because it is easy to come back and say we should have gotten to the portal, but that's a misevaluation by your offensive line and your coach and your staff that those guys didn't develop under your coaching the way you thought they would.
Yeah, and I've had this question asked to me a lot. Is it the coaching or what is it? I go, look, last year the 5 starters will all go to an NFL camp. DJ Campbell will go to a camp this year. So, and they played pretty well last year, okay? And so there's no question Kurt Flood knows what he's doing. In fact, some of the things I see them doing when they know what they're doing is good. Last year, what they were doing was good. This year, all of a sudden, it's terrible. It's not all of a sudden like Kurt Flood forgot what he's doing.
Right.
They either can't do it or they can't take coaching. And I don't know. I'm not in there. But all I know is they're not doing what I know they're told to be doing. And then also the other thing about it, guys, there's a mentality to offensive line. And you got to think about it like this. They're the least athletic guy on the football team. In other words, if you can't do offensive line, you're going to the stands. There's no other place to go. I mean, if you're too slow as a cornerback, you can go to safety. There ain't nowhere else after offensive line. And it's the only position really that you're going to hit somebody as hard as you can every play. And you got to have a kind of nasty mentality, like you want to go hit somebody. You look forward to it. When they call a play where you get to go pull and knock the crap out of defensive end, you should be excited. I don't see that. And then that's where I'm worried. It's like we need to find guys that are kind of that mentality and play like that. And that's how you win football games. It's not necessarily size, speed, strength, all that. It's a character mentality first. And if you can get that with the size, speed, and strength, then you get the special ones. But there's only so many special ones. You're not going to find 5 guys like that every year in high school. You just got to, I would say, go find that character first and then worry about the intangibles later.
Hard-working Jessies, you remember you call them, Daniel. Hard-working Jessies that like to smack somebody, and kind of like yourself. You were the nicest guy off the field, but on the field, man, not nice at all. That's the mentality they're looking for. Hey, I never asked you this, Dan. Who's the best running back you ever blocked for? Is it Davis? Is it Ricky? I mean, or is there someone else?
It's one of those two guys. I mean, flip a coin, right?
Yeah. Both Hall of Fame talent.
Yeah, I would say they were a little bit different backs. Terrell Davis probably hit the hole better than any back I ever played with. In other words, when he got the handoff, you watch him, he put a foot down in the dirt, and he was going north and south now. And that was our system. He was coached well in it, and he hit it, like a freight train. Ricky certainly had some of the same tangibles, but Ricky was a lot shiftier and more open field, elusive runner than Terrell. But they both had special talents that made them, unbelievable players.
Dan, thanks, buddy. It's good to hear you. Aggie's going 11-1. I'll be rooting for Landon too, and pretty awesome. Let's do this more often, my friend.
Yeah, anytime, guys. I enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, Dan.
There you go. There's Dan Neal again. That's why we wanted that meat and potatoes, because everybody's, Arch Manning's playing poorly and missing open receivers, but you get smacked in the face enough, you start looking at the blitz and wondering where the blitz is and where am I going to get a hit this time. And that's why I'll go back to what we said from Monday on. I mean, you don't call double reverse passes on 3rd and 3 on your first drive. Just run the ball. Get your offensive line in gear. I mean, whatever they're going to be, make it as simple as possible, which I know it makes it tough. And the one thing I'll say for Arch is in this offense, they haven't turned the football over. If they start turning the ball over, they're going to get blown out of these games.
Right.
But they have not done that. And there's Dan Neal, not real optimistic and can get a heck of a lot better. And that's concerning with the teams they have coming. Can it improve a little, kind of like the Cowboys and their defense? Can it improve a little bit incrementally to where it's salvageable, because your defense will keep you in these games if you're not turning the football over? And they need, gosh, can't say enough, they need Cedric Baxter to come back and give them a big back that can lean on people, along with Trey Wisner, and more emergence of Christian Clark, because they have to be able to be creative in their run game and get this going.
Try to wear down that D-line.
Yeah, well, and I'll say this for the C.J. Baxter thing, and I know people think it's a pipe dream, but Stark keeps saying he's close. C.J. Baxter, in addition to being your best running back, I think, he's also your far and away best pass protector as a running back.
Yes, he is.
Because he's sturdy. He's 230, 235, and he can stick his face in there. I don't know how many times I've seen a Texas running back try to stick his face in and get run over.
It's smoked.
Yeah, because they're littler guys at this point, and they're not great at it. C.J. Baxter, so that's why he started as a true freshman, because he's a willing blocker and he's good at it, identifying who to block. So, again, this is not going to turn into a great offense at any point, but can it turn into a manageable offense?
Because the defense is so good, it can win you games.
Yeah, and the special teams can flip fields, and Ryan Niblett's a dangerous weapon, and those are two really good units. Can your offense get to marginal? Like I think Arch was very comfortable. That's where Sark has to double back in and lean into those things. But as we talked about with Dan, well, everybody's going to watch that Oklahoma tape and, okay, here's what Oklahoma should have been doing. But don't think Oklahoma didn't get pressure in that game. They got there.
They did.
And Arch did a great job of avoiding it. And then there were always, how about Trey Wisner as an outlet? He had 5 catches in that Oklahoma game. When pressure's going to come, you have to have an outlet for your quarterback that's not 20 yards down the field. So that's where we are. That's why we wanted to talk to Dan Neal. We appreciate him. He was a 2-time Longhorn All-American and one of the all-time best players and best guys